Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Week 1 is in the books. We are doing a Week 1 reaction show because, let's face it, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of things to react to, and this is the time of year, Week 1. You are not the winner of your entire league after this week, and you are not the loser. So just stick with it. It's going to be fine. Take a breath. It'll be okay.
Power through. You got this.
Yes.
You got this.
And part of this, I feel like, is talking to a couple of us on this podcast as well. How are we doing tonight?
Well,
a little better?
No, but
it's okay. It's only week 1. You
sure.
can take this the good way.
When I lose week 2, then I gotta really start reevaluating.
Oh, if you lose
life.
week 2, then you may as well just quit. You stop putting waivers in.
Oh, 2? I'm done.
Yeah, 0-2. That's it.
Nothing will top the year that I lost in every single league week 1 and got kicked out of guillotine week 1. That was the worst. At least this year. This year, thank you, Mr. Chris. Goodbye. I will love bidding on your players, but no, I lost.
Have fun with Christian McCaffrey.
I
definitely couldn't.
I lost in every other league, and I thought it was a dead set thing. But if the 49ers keep struggling like they're struggling right now, and Breece Hall gets more touchdowns, I could win in one league. We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, thank you for sucking at guillotine, Chris. It helps out. But yeah, it was a good week, not a great week. It seems a little bit weird, but we're gonna react to a couple of the big things here that happened this week. We learned a lot. We also have more questions on some instances, but let's start off with the elephant in the room, Jamar Chase. On a scale of 1 to 10, are you worried at all? Not the Browns. Sorry, we'll get to them next. The Bengals look pretty bad. T. Higgins was not on the field. The running back room is a little bit weird. Zach Moss did okay. They got pummeled by the New England Patriots of all teams at home. And Jamar Chase had food poisoning. Is that this contract situation? What do you think is gonna? Are you worried at all about Jamar Chase, or do you think they're gonna figure it out and they'll be just fine?
I feel like they have to pay him after how bad week 1 went at home, when 44% of NFL survival pool picked the Bengals to win. That's a lot of people that are mad at the Bengals.
Go yeah.
I feel like they have to pay him this week. It wouldn't surprise me if the news comes out pretty soon that they've reached a deal with him. They need him, as they showed Sunday that was a disaster. So as a Chase owner, I sat him. I was worried about his usage because if I wasn't being paid, I wouldn't really want to play that much either. But then the food poisoning definitely didn't help. He put up an okay amount of points, so I kind of wish I did start him. But yeah, I'm worried about it. I hope they pay him this week. They pay him, he's an automatic start in every league in every situation.
We were joking in our chat. We thought they were going to pay him at halftime just to get him back on the field, but it didn't really happen. He did come out and do better the second half, so I think he's going to be just fine. I would not be panicking. If you want, go to try to trade for him because he could be a little bit cheaper. I mean, he was still a first-round pick, so no one's going to be just giving up on him, but it's worth a shot. Chris, worried about Jamar Chase or?
I gotta be honest. I can speak. I promise. I'm of the opinion that they're definitely going to pay Jamar Chase. I don't think it's going to be an issue. My worry meter is at a 4 solely because of how long it's taken, but that's truthfully not that bad. I think it'll be fine. I'm not the most worried. If they don't pay them, the Bengals might be thinking about selling the team. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe. So, all right. Now I alluded to it because I really want to talk about them. Apparently, the Browns, mainly Deshaun Watson. What do we think about Deshaun Watson? Because I don't know if you guys caught this during the game at all. There was a time where one of his offensive linemen fell on the ground, and Watson went over and reached out his hand to help him up, and he swatted it away. So I don't think the Browns really like Watson right now. I sure as heck don't like watching him play football. What are we to do with the Cleveland Browns? Besides
My danger, yeah. My danger meter is like probably at an 8, I think. For most of the Browns, it sucks. I think the redeeming qualities here is going to be the running back situation, and I think truthfully the only reason why that is because that position is technically the least dependent on the quarterback offensively. I mean that. It's the only one. So, if you have a running back from there, you might be okay. Everyone else, you might as well quit. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I'm at like an 8. I'm not a fan. Joe, what about you?
I mean, they paid him all this money. I feel like they have to give him a couple more shots, but if it doesn't go well, I could see Winston stepping up. Someone's down there somewhere.
Please let Jameis Winston get a shot. That offense would be so much fun with him.
Dude, can you imagine Jameis Winston coming in and leading him to the playoffs after like an 0-3 start? Deshaun Watson. How funny would that be?
Joe Flacco did it off his couch.
I know. I'm aware.
Like, Jameis Winston would be so much fun. Like,
it's almost like the Browns have a good team, except for quarterback. Sucks. It's like the Jets again. It's the Jets. Yeah. We're back.
$230 million, and they can't cut him. They can't. He's on the team until 2026. He's got like $100 million cap hit next year. He ain't going anywhere. So you're paying a ton of money for a dude who, quite frankly, he looks washed with dirty water. It's bad. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So I'm worried about the Browns. I put it at a 10. Jerome Ford is going to volume his way into an okay year, but that's it. He's the only one that I'm looking at. David Njoku went out injured. Amari Cooper dropped a big pass, and he, with Watson under center, I don't care. I'm not playing anybody on this team other than Jerome Ford, and he's an RB3 flex play at best. He got the touchdown yesterday, but his stats weren't that great. So this offense just can't move the ball. So Mark Andrews, are we worried about him? Let's start with him because then I have a question about the entire offense by itself. Mark Andrews, worry meter 1 to 10. Chris, what's your number?
1.
Joe?
I'm not worried.
2.
Perfect.
Just to disagree with me? Just to disagree. Really? Okay. I see how it is.
You got to be a tiny bit worried. I mean,
that's why I give it a 1. I didn't give it a 0.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't give 0.
The scale was 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Oh, I didn't have the option? Oh, wow.
Yeah, 0 was not an option. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, no, don't worry about Mark Andrews. He will be just fine. Don't. Everybody has a bad week. It just sucks that it happened in week 1. Now, leading to the Ravens question here, outside of Lamar, because he's going to do Lamar things and rush for a bunch of yards and score and do crazy things. As far as the pass catchers, the ADOT, I don't know if you guys saw this, the ADOT was like 1.8 yards. Everything was a screen pass to the left, screen pass to the right, and that was it. Very few deep balls. I don't think any were connected. Zay Flowers was okay. He PPR'd his way into somewhat of a fantasy relevancy week, but it didn't look pretty outside of Isaiah Likely, who had a big touchdown that, was, again, a shorter pass, and then he just, took it to the house because he's athletic. Should we be worried about this team, or we think it's just the Chiefs' defense is that good? Like, what do you guys think?
I think it's a combination of the Chiefs' defense is good, but also I have a weird feeling the Ravens tried to overcomplicate things. Like I am no expert in how to run an NFL offense by any means, so I could be wrong. But this is kind of similar to how they were completely destroyed in the playoffs. They just tried to do stuff that just didn't make sense, and they just tried to overcomplicate what was working, which is throwing and running with your best players. So I feel like things will even out. I'm not too worried about the Ravens offense.
All right, so scale of 1 to 10.
I'll give it a 3.
3, Joe?
I'm 2. It's week 1. I mean, let them iron out the details and get on the same page.
Alrighty. Travis Kelce on that other side of the ball there. Should we be worried about him? I say I'm about a 3, just because it's really just age. I think this is just another, again, week 1. I don't want to keep using that, but week 1, I think it'll be fine. What number do you guys put on Travis Kelce?
2.
Joe?
I'll go with Chris. I'll go 2. I'm 2
Alrighty.
for most of these, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried.
You just gotta copy him, man. Like, come on. All right. All top 12 tight ends, according to ADP, that were drafted. This was not the week for the top 12 tight ends because, the only one that was drafted inside the top 10, top 12, sorry, that did anything more than 35 yards was Mr. Kyle Pitts. All of them.
Yo,
It's finally
it's
here.
his season.
Every year it's been his season. This could be the year. There he is.
Oh, there it is.
If you're watching on YouTube, Joe Capozzi has a Kyle Pitts card on the screen. So check us out.
And
on
signed
YouTube.
mini helmet. He's my boy. He's been my boy since he came out, and I've been disappointed ever since.
What a good parent. Disappointed in their child. But, Alrighty.
Wow.
Hey. You get to be with these guys emotionally after a while.
Yeah.
You think of them like your own children. Alrighty. Michael Pittman Jr. had a bad game. This was another game where Anthony Richardson was amazing for fantasy, but for NFL and for his wide receivers outside of Alec Pierce and Ashton Doolin, did Jack Diddley squat. 9 completions out of 19 passes. So that is not going to be enough to go around. So Michael Pittman got the short end of that stick. Do we think Michael Pittman Jr. is in bad shape? Or what do you guys think? How worried are you? I know, Chris, you have him in a couple weeks. So how worried are you? You're living this life. What is your worry meter?
I'm at like a solid 5 right now. In most leagues I have him. I will be completely honest with you. I went in with Michael Pittman kind of being my, probably one of my more riskier picks in the middle rounds because I understood that this is probably going to be a more hilly battle than I would want. And it turns out I might be correct on that. So for the most part, I have kind of a depth option for wide receiver if I need to slot them in somewhere. But definitely a 5 with Michael Pittman. I'm in the middle of the road. I like to think that will improve and eventually that they're going to realize to win games, you got to give it to the number 1 guy, but we'll see.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, I think I'm like a 6, maybe close to 7. Anthony Richardson showed glimpses, but he did not look like a good passer. He looked like a great rusher and great short pass manager, but he overthrew 2 very open long touchdowns. One was real bad. That makes me nervous as I have Mitchell in redraft. I started him. Made me very sad when he overthrew him twice. It makes me nervous with AR behind the helm. I wouldn't. Yeah, does not happen.
We all know how you feel about AR.
I think he's a good Russian quarterback. Passer, I don't think he's a very good passer.
No,
He kind of demonstrated that on Sunday. He
He's-
has a big arm and he can't aim it. So
He aimed it pretty good on that the Alec Pierce one. That was a That was a beautiful throw.
I'm gonna stop us right here. I know we're heading into an argument, so in a debate that we simply are not here for. We can save this for another show, another time. How about that?
I got 1 point to make, and then we can move on. I'm
Okay.
at the helm here. All right, so Anthony Richardson is a better Justin Fields. Good for fantasy, but he's not a very good quarterback. He's not a very good passer. But for fantasy, I don't really care because he's going to get it done on the ground. And if he keeps throwing bomb touchdowns, then sign me up. He's going to finish top 5 at the position. But we will see. Next guy here, another one of these, DeAndre Swift. He was my sit last week. I hope you listened because he did not do much of anything. In fact, none of the Bears really did. Caleb Williams, he was a rookie. He looked like a rookie. Missed a couple throws as well, but I think he's going to figure it out. I mean, he showed glimpses as well with his mobility in the pocket. I thought he navigated that pretty good. His first NFL game, expect some rust. It just came at the expense of the entire Bears offense. You know, their defense won them that game. It was not Caleb Williams. It was not the offense. The defense won them the game. How are you guys worried about the Bears at all?
I'll go with like a solid 4 for right now for the entire Bears offense. I will give it some time. I am okay with allowing this to kind of get up to speed a bit. It is very clear that there are growing pains right now, and I'm okay with just letting the tides commence. Most of the Bears wide receivers that you drafted and just DeAndre Swift were like in the later middle rounds. So like I think you're okay. I think DJ Moore was probably the highest guy, and he was like around what, 40? 50?
DJ Moore, I think, was like
right?
a third, fourth round pick. So
I think, yeah. So that'd be like the highest person there. I mean, you're probably okay with waiting a little bit here, but yeah, around 4.
92 passing yards split between a couple people's not going to be good for anybody. But how long are you willing to wait before you abandon ship? Like 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Next week?
Who are we abandoning?
Yeah, I guess any of the Bears players.
I didn't think Caleb looked too bad. He threw a beautiful pass to Keenan, which should have been a touchdown that Keenan just dropped.
He dropped that.
Frankly, dropped it. And now Odunze's hurt. I don't know the severity of that, so he might miss some time. I heard it's the best case scenario for him, but still, it's an injury. He's probably going to miss some time. I know DJ Moore was getting beat up. He went to the injury tent a couple times during that game, so that's not a good sign. And Keenan was questionable coming into this week. He logged a couple practices, so they're all pretty beat up, and that makes me nervous for the Bears.
True.
If they're healthy, I'm not that nervous at all. I mean, it's his first real NFL game. He didn't play bad. He got the W. He looked pretty sharp. He threw some nice passes, so I'm not too worried. I'm more concerned about health rather than the state of the Bears. I'm more concerned, like, is my player okay? But
Gotcha. Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little more worried about the Bears just because I think there's too many mouths to feed. And looking historically, rookie quarterbacks, no matter what rookie quarterback it is, they just can't sustain multiple guys, let alone one guy. I mean, last year we had C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins, and Collins finished just inside the top 12. So the deck is stacked against him. I do think they'll figure it out. I think the second half of this year will be a lot better. I mean, it's week 1, so they saw the things they need to change, and if they get healthy, I think they'll be okay. But I just don't think they're going to return on the value that they were drafted. I guess specifically for DJ Moore. That's who I'm most nervous about, because you spent the decently high pick on him, and if this is the offense, if it's 50% better from this week, it's still not good. So. Moving on here to Joe Burrow. We kind of talked about Jamar Chase. Are we worried about Burrow? Didn't have Higgins. Had a touchdown dropped. Chase should be back. Any worries?
I gave this sort of like meter in the previous episode with Jamar Chase. And I'm going to give this similar kind of feeling now. It's definitely like the 4 range. This is obviously very dependent on how everything else turns up with T. Higgins and the contract with Jamar Chase. I don't think Joe Burrow maybe there's like a slight rust period, but I'm not too worried about Joe Burrow in a sense. I'm worried about everything else around Joe Burrow.
Gotcha. Joe?
Yeah, like Chris said, right now he has no one to throw to outside of pretty much Jazicki, in my opinion. So hopefully Higgins comes back. Told you he was injury prone. And hopefully they pay Jamar Chase.
Yeah. You also said he's good. I have that clipped.
I did
That
say
is true.
My exact words was he is a good wide receiver, but he is injury prone. And where is he?
Yeah.
Oh, hurt. What a shocker.
Yeah.
It happens every year.
Heal up, Higgins. Heal up. Please. I need you. All right, Rachaad White. We kind of talked about it on the waiver show with Bucky Irving being the most efficient back and producing the most yards for the running back position on that team. Rachaad White definitely has a passing down role. He's got the familiarity with Baker Mayfield. Any worries at all? I'd put it at around a 3 personally.
1. I'm not worried in the slightest. Stick to my guns. All there is to it.
Yeah, I'm a 1 too. Why are we worried?
Just because last year he was very inefficient with the football, caught a lot of passes, but this year he's already pretty inefficient, and Bucky Irving is a little bit more efficient. Not by much, but just something to monitor. This could be something later in the season, but right now that's why I put it at a 3, just to kind of put it in the back of your mind. Travis Etienne, I don't think we're worried at all. I do think Tank Bigsby is worth a pickup because he did make the best of his situation this week. He did match Travis Etienne on the ground with 12 rush attempts. So he is going to be involved. It just depends on how much he will be and what Etienne will be able to do to keep him off the field, which I think Etienne is obviously the better running back. There's no question about that. It's just more opportunity. We've been hearing for the past 2 years, that they want to lower his workload. They don't want him to do that. We want to keep him healthy. They drafted Tank Bigsby last year in the 3rd round. They want him involved, and he just kind of fumbled it away. No pun intended. But I think he's worth a pickup. I don't think we should be too worried. So for me, I'm going to put it at 2.
I'm a 1 here as well.
1. He's not worried.
Mostert. This one I feel like we're going to get a little worried on. Devon Achane was the starting running back and did the most with it. Raheem Mostert got very little work and didn't look the best. On this offense, it is Tua, it is Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, and Raheem Mostert. I think Mostert might be, this season, the odd man out. Because I think they're going to give Achane more work, and he looked well. He looked really good with the extra work. He did get injured, left the field, but so did Mostert. They both got kind of banged up a little bit. That's why you saw a little bit of Jeff Wilson. So, Raheem Mostert for 2024. Are you sounding any alarm bells right now, or just chalking it up to week 1? We'll figure it out.
It's tough. Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. You go first.
I wouldn't be too worried. He did play 44% of snaps, which is, if you look at another perfect running back duo example, is if you look at over there on the other team with Mr. Monty and Gibbs over there on the Lions, they played a 51-49% share, and they both did really well in fantasy. I think this might have just been a bad week for Mostert. So, and he did he is, like you said, a little banged up, and he's older, so that's a little more to worry about when an older player gets banged up like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he's healthy, I think it's going to look more like how the Lions did with the 49-51%. Both these teams love both their backs, and they like playing both of them. So I wouldn't get too worried. I'd say like it's like a 3 right now for me because you got to be a little bit worried after something like this, but don't let it don't sell him or like go crazy about it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I feel. I put him at a 4 just because he's an older running back. Last year he was able to stay healthy for most of the season and just had insane touchdown efficiency. I don't think that's going to happen this year. So that's why I'm a little bit more worried just seeing the usage splits, but I'm also okay with still starting him. Javonte Williams is another one. I don't know if you guys are worried, but I'm kind of worried about that whole Broncos offense. What number would you put on Javonte Williams? Chris, let's go with you first.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a little worried about the Broncos offense, but I'm also like going into the season. I didn't really draft much of them too highly anyway. So in terms of where I drafted them at, I'll go with like maybe 5, maybe 6. I didn't really pick them up thinking I was going to be starting them anyway. At the current moment, besides in Gay team where I had to start quoting Sutton, that's the only exception. Yeah. So yeah, like maybe there just is like a usability thing, but I'm not actually too worried in terms of like wise of how I got them.
Okay. Joe, are you worried at all?
Not really. I mean, did we expect that much from them? I don't think so, right?
The bar was pretty low.
So yeah, met expectations.
Sounds like we're back at school grading, the teacher at the end of the year. Met expectations. Devontae Adams is the next guy here. Are we worried about him? Gardner Minshew likes to sling it, but he did not look very good. That offense looked rough most of the game. What do you think of Devontae Adams? I think you guys were a lot higher on him than I was going into the year. Not that I'm taking a victory lap yet because it's Devontae Adams, but still, it's a little concerning to me. So I'm going to put that at about a 5 for me.
Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a good week for him, but I mean, I still think he's the number 1 option there. I was very happy with Brock Bowers there, getting 8 targets for a rookie tight end. He's someone I grabbed I grabbed him in a lot of leagues late, hoping that he would have that role. So I'm very happy. It's week 1. I'm not too worried yet. I'd say like 3. If he continues this like another week or 2, then I'd be like, okay, wow, this might be bad. But
Chris,
I don't want to jump any guns because I understand it's week 1, but this terrifies me more than I think most will. I haven't been too high on Adams. He definitely was not in my top 12 at all. That's because of Gardner Minshew.
it's okay. Rich had him at 10.
Yeah, definitely not me. I'm gonna put this at a solid 6.5 at the current moment. That's a little high, and I completely understand that. However, I'm going to be of the thought process of if you can trade this guy for someone else good, I would actually be doing that right now. I don't think there's anything bad about Devontae Adams. I think he is fine. I want to make sure that's perfectly clear. Right?
I want to put that to the test right now. Ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather have Devontae Adams
Okay.
or Xavier Worthy?
Okay, I would rather have Devontae Adams than Xavier Worthy. Like in that 100%. Like that's obviously Xavier Worthy had that like fantastic week, but like there's also a lot of moving parts on the offense. He didn't really touch the ball that much. I'd rather have the guy who's going to get all the targets.
I'm saying deal you might be able to get done because a lot of people just look at the stat lines. That you might be able to get that deal done. You might need to put a little bit of something on top, but
maybe. I mean, like personally, that guy, I feel like getting Devontae wins that in my opinion as of right now. But like I'm more or less talking like maybe getting like a more like comparable player in the ADP range. At the kind of like I mean Xavier Worthy is really down there. I'm talking like somewhere in the 2nd round that you'd be getting, maybe early 3rd, something around there. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking about this right now. I'm not a huge Devontae fan, but yeah, that's it for me.
All right, I'm gonna put we're gonna go to the next guy here, Terry McLaurin. on the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels had himself a fantasy day. Did not do very much through the air. Brian Robinson was catching passes. He just had struggles. Again, another rookie quarterback. It's kind of expected. Do you think they're going to figure out with Terry McLaurin? Joe, let's start with you.
I'm very nervous with Jaden Daniels' throwing capabilities. Probably more nervous about Jaden Daniels than I am with Anthony Richardson's, because he also doesn't have that cannon like Anthony has. I was excited for Terry, especially after they released Dotson, which was a surprise to me. I'm like, wow, McLaurin's going to be the guy. Like, he's going to be a target monster. He's going to get tons of fantasy points this year. He was targeted 4 times in the entire game. That's your number 1 wide receiver. What are we doing? What is happening? Made me nervous. It'd be one thing if they won the game and didn't target him, and they're just running to run out the clock. They lost. Why are you not targeting your number 1 wide receiver when you're losing the game? It blew my mind. I'm nervous. I'm like a 6-7.
Really?
As a McLaurin owner in redraft,
Wow.
I think I'm going to sit him. I'm debating about sitting him. I don't trust Jaden to get him the ball, and it sucks. So, what about you, Chris?
Yeah, no, I'm up there too. I'll be at a 6. It's a very terrifying prospect. It's in fact so terrifying that we didn't talk about in the waiver show, but I know he's going to be available in a bunch of leagues because he's available in a bunch of my leagues that I'm in somehow, some way. If you see Luke McCaffrey there, take him. That could be a really, really funny, nonsensical pick. He might be. And I hate doing this because I always hate these stupid trend things I see. But if we had to give the title, this might be the Puka Nacua of this season in a sense. For no reason, just because they're not using Terry McLaurin like they should be. So yeah, I'm at a 6 with Terry McLaurin.
I'm at a 4. Because I think this offense is going to figure it out. And I think it can figure it out this week. Because do you know who they go up against this week? They go up against the New York Football Giants.
Oh, wow.
If there's any time for a squeaky wheel game and a potential bounce back, it's going to be against the Giants. So I think he's going to come back this week and be just fine. In which case, if you are worried, it presents a sell high chance after week 2, because he's going to do just fine this week. I don't have any doubt about that because the Giants are that bad at defense. So yeah, that I think is it. What number? So we had a 6, 7,
6 and a 6 or 7, and then you were 4.
All right, perfect. So those are some of the bigger topics from the league this week, some of the things we saw. So as you can tell, we're split on a couple of things, but again, don't panic. It's only week 1. There's 16 weeks left in the fantasy football season.
Panic so much.
I'm panicking.
If you panic, you're going to make bad decisions and you're going to continuously lose. Just look at it, try to look at the trends and see. That's why, follow the show. We're going to go out with guys. We're going to come up with guys that, we're okay with. We're going to talk about these players every week. Some things just happen. Some things just suck in the week. Just like the Giants
like
and the
losing
Browns.
week 1 of your guillotine league.
Yes. Well, that's a little different because every week is kind of your championship week. So, regular leagues, you have
Chris.
time. I'm just gonna kick him from the chat here now. But yeah, just stick with it. It's gonna be fine. Just don't make any rash decisions. Don't be dropping your star players like Marvin Harrison Jr., which actually I just realized we didn't talk about him. So let's talk about him real quick. Don't be worried. Don't be worried at all. He will be fine.
I think we can all agree that we're gonna have to ride that ride.
Yes, it'll be fine. Stay with it. You're okay. We're here.
It's painful. It's painful here.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts, but it gets better. And if it doesn't get better, there's always
it can't get worse. It can't get. I guess it could get worse. He could have 0 catches, but
that is true. It could always be worse.
1 catch for 4 yards is pretty low to the ground. I mean, what, he could get 1 for 2 yards next week. So
he was wide open, and Kyler didn't see him. We'd be talking about him being one of the best plays this week, or having one of the best fantasy outputs, just because of that touchdown. We'd like, he's good.
Would you rather him getting wide open and Kyler not seeing him, or him getting open and Anthony Richardson just bombing it over him?
I'll take not seeing.
Yeah, I think that's better, because then it's because then it's what could have been, but it's not like what could have been with a better throw. But yeah.
All I'm imagining for Joe right now is that Simpsons meme of like Homer and Bart is there, and Bart's just like, "This is the worst day of my life," and Homer goes, "Worst day of your life so far."
It's literally what's happening.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap things up for us this evening. We will be back with our starts and sits of the week on Thursday, right before Thursday Night Football with the Bills and Dolphins. That is going to be an exciting game. Keep following the show. We're going to keep pumping out content. We're going to help everyone out as best we can. While we're here. All right, everyone. So long.
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football podcast. Follow us on Twitter @TheHeroesFF.